Hello everyone, this is Brandy Martinez and this is my Module 3 video for leadership styles and ethics. So I'm going to start here with my leadership style. So my leadership style is transformational. Transformational leadership, described by Anderson, is the style of leadership that transforms followers' attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors to a higher realm of motivation, where the leader inspires followers to be motivated to rise above and beyond current levels of achievement and performance to even higher levels of achievement and performance. So I feel like transformational leaders are constantly striving to create an environment full of highly motivated individuals who hold themselves to high standards. They do this by creating both personal and intellectual relationships with staff. Transformational leaders want to create more leaders. I feel like I'm drawn to this type of leadership style because this is what I see across the building. At my own workplace, I feel like all three of the administrators in my building are transformational leaders. They hold themselves to really high standards and they do the same for the staff. They are constantly wanting to put us in leadership positions. So I feel like that kind of just pushes us to raise the bar all the time. So next are some characteristics that I feel are very important. So respect, empathy, positivity, open-mindedness, and adaptability. So respect is really the golden rule, treating people the way that you want to be treated, respecting people at all times. When you are being respectful, that's also ensuring professionalism because you're not going to be saying things that are out of line because you're going to be respecting people. So I feel like this is something that I've inherited, I've observed, and I've learned. So as at a young age, always learning that, you have to be respectful to receive respect. And then observing how my building administrators are respectful of people's decisions and what they have to say, even when they are not being given that same respect. Empathy allows for connection and kind of makes you realize that everyone is on their own journey. Not everyone is going to have the same type of uh, life that you're having. So it is very important for you to be empathetic. I know this is something that I've observed and learned, making sure that I am aware of what people are going through. Positivity. So, this is also something really important to me, making sure that I'm finding the silver lining and trying to uplift others, being a light instead of, walking around with a dark cloud above my head. I feel like this is something that I've inherited, observed, and learned as well. So, I feel like inherited because this is something that I'm constantly striving to do. Every single day that my kids walk into my classroom, currently, I tell them that it's a beautiful day to be alive. I think it's been only 2 times in my life that I haven't because I wasn't having a good day. But I'm trying my best to be the light in kids' lives, and I hope to do the same as a building principal. Open-mindedness, also very important, making sure that I'm always open to suggestions, that I'm keeping a growth mindset and striving to be solution focused. I feel like this is something that I've learned, but also inherited in a way because my parents have always been that way. They've always been able to find solutions to their problems, and I feel like this is something that I think is so important. And then finally, I have adaptability because change is inevitable. You just that's the only thing that's constant in our life, that there's going to be some change. So I feel like it's just something that I need to always know that I need to adapt to situations. Next, I have ethics. So, three things that really stood out to me: justice, integrity, and honesty. So, I really like this graphic for justice because it's about knowing the difference between what's equal and what is the right thing. So, I think for a long time, I just focused on being equal or being fair, and it's a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more about equity and justice. So justice is kind of pushing it, making sure that not only am I meeting students and my colleagues where they're at, but also changing things and reforming things so that it will stay that way. The second one is integrity. Who you are is what you do when no one is watching. So I feel like this is something that I've inherited and also learned in some ways. I think this is something that stuck with me a lot. When I was in elementary school, there was a big poster somewhere in the school that said something along the lines of, "You are what you do when no one is watching." And I feel like this is something that has stuck to me because I want to hold myself to a higher standard and make sure that I can back myself always, and that when people talk about me and who I am, that, it's just who I am and it's streamlined through all parts of my life. Finally, is honesty. So, being vulnerable and creating trust in others. I feel like this is something I've observed, inherited, and learned. So, making sure that I'm honest with myself and honest with others. I feel like this is something that I try my best to be. And really, it is about being vulnerable, telling people, yes, I messed up. How can I do better? Or, you know what, I didn't like that. How can we fix it? What can we do better as well? Next, I have some professional norms. So, these are things that I feel like are so important to implement. Specifically, when I thought about these norms, I thought about meetings because these are places where people have differences of opinions, and it's really important to remain level-headed and to create some professional norms. So, the first one, assume positive intention and take responsibility for impact. So I really liked how Baudet and Lockwood explained this one because they talked about how sometimes you don't really know how people are saying things, or maybe you have some bias and you feel like the way that someone said something was meant to be mean or rude or whatever the case is. So assuming positive intention just kind of takes that all away. But the second part, taking responsibility for impact. So if you know that what you're going to say is going to rub people the wrong way, or maybe someone did say something to you and it didn't sit well, making sure that you talk about it and having people take that responsibility for whatever they have said. The second is being here now. So this is something that I see teachers are notorious for not being in a PD, or when they're there, they're grading or they're doing, something that just has nothing to do with it, which is just a waste of everyone's time and pretty disrespectful. So I feel like this is something that I would like to instill into my colleagues. And then finally, starting and ending on time. So just making sure that I'm valuing everyone's time in that way. Finally, my Claude 2.1 correlation, relevancy, and personal reflection. So I feel like this assignment allowed me to understand that there are different styles leaders can choose to follow, and that all leaders have different traits that make them unique. It also grounded what my personal beliefs are and what I know about myself as a leader. I was able to demonstrate my beliefs correlating with the standard as I reflected on my own learnings and inherited abilities. I learned that the great things that make me who I am also contribute to great leadership qualities. I feel my biggest strength comes in the form of connections I create with others and how I go about presenting information. I'm going to go back to that. Oh, sorry about that. I create with others. My biggest strength comes from the connections I create with others and how I go about presenting information. My biggest weakness currently is my unreliableness. So I know that I tend to set forth great ideas, but I struggle with the follow through. I always have the best intentions, but I need to work on making sure I keep my word and do what I say I'm going to do. I will work on saying yes only to things that I can truly accomplish and give myself a good amount of time before I start anything new. And to enhance my strengths, I think it is a good idea to continue to foster the relationships I have made with my peers and colleagues. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. Have a great rest of your day.